Let's look again at the modern tennis swing. Do not be in denial that the flat drive exists. Do not ignore it. Top pros moving up the court, playing the ball early on the rise, hit big, penetrating flat shots. This is the benchmark, the master stroke, the sound basic swing. To repeat, keep the racket straight to contact on the traditional Western and on the extreme Western. Keeping the racket straight. Simply start low, swing level or straight, and finish high. There it is. And on the one-hander, start low, swing level or straight, and finish high. And of course the same on the two-handed backhand. Low to level to finishing high. So do not neglect the sound basic swing, the flat drive. It is easy for beginners to learn and gives you a solid foundation to your stroke making. Roger Federer, whose technique has spanned 2 decades in the modern era of tennis, bases his entire game on his sound basic swing, his flat drive. Swing level, start low, finish high. And on his one-handed backhand, of course, start low, swing level, finish high. The huge array, the entire range of topspin shots that he hits, based upon the ball trajectory and his position on the court, stem from this sound basic swing, this classic drive. Then he simply adapts this swing to hit all the topspin shots the situation demands. That's why Federer wins. He has sound, solid basics. He hits through the ball. When discussing the sound basic swing earlier, we said that swinging from low to high, swinging level to the ball, imparts a modicum of topspin on the ball for basic control. Now if you want to hit more topspin, say the ball is dipping as it comes to you, or you're halfway up the court hitting topspin into the baseline, adapt your sound basic swing, instinctively starting lower, and the roll or turn to the ball will be completely automatic and natural. Just swinging from low to high, your racket will turn automatically and naturally to the ball. You can see the racket turn, but don't try and turn or think of turning. If you do, you'll turn too much. You'll turn across the line of the ball, not hit through the ball and lose penetration and control. No, just swing from low to high, and the topspin happens completely automatically and naturally. The purpose of these tapes is to reset the way topspin is learnt and taught. Topspin technique has been misunderstood, misinterpreted for 10 years now. The result is that people cannot do a nice simple rally, and because they don't enjoy it, they give up the game. It's very important that people approach this game with correct methods. Stay with me here. You will learn when and how Federer, Nadal, all the top pros hit topspin shots. Do not misinterpret what the top pros are doing. They're not coming out here and trying to turn their racket on the ball for topspin. No, they're just adapting the sound basic swing, starting that a little bit low when they want to hit more topspin. Let's take that on the one-hander. And of course the same will be on the two-hander. The more topspin they want to hit, the lower they start. Let's take that on the two-hander. The lower you start, the more the topspin that will be imparted on the ball. Topspin evolves naturally from the sound basic swing. Just start lower, and the roll or turn to the ball will be completely automatic and natural. The closed racket face and the low arm and wrist position in the take back is completely automatic and natural, as the basic drive is adapted to hit heavy topspin here. Do not turn like a windscreen wiper, or think of turning like a windscreen wiper, because if you do, you'll turn across the line of the ball and not hit through the ball. And not only will you lose your penetration and control, but also you run the risk of injury, fatigue, shanking the shot off the frame, broken strings, and ultimately loss of enjoyment of hitting big penetrating shots. Because your topspin will have excessive topspin on it. It will be landing halfway up the court. It will be defensive topspin. It'll not be attacking topspin that penetrates the court. Let's look at the modern tennis swing in more detail. The top 5 pros started learning the game approximately 21 years ago, and hone their games as pros 10 years ago. They all learned a sound basic swing on a baseline rally when penetrative shots are required. They hit flat on balls coming in on a shallow trajectory after the bounce, or balls on the rise before they dip down after the bounce. But when the ball dips down after the bounce, they hit just the degree of topspin required to keep the ball in court. They hit penetrative topspin. Let me explain. Take a shallow trajectory or ball on the rise. Here, they hit the flat modicum of topspin basic drive. You can see the little bit of topspin on the ball just to control the shot to bring it down into the court. Take a ball dipping a little bit after the bounce. Here they adapt the flat modicum of topspin basic drive and start just that little bit lower. See when the ball's just dipping a little bit here and put a little bit more topspin on the board to keep it in court. Note this is with penetrative topspin. Take a ball dipping a bit more after the bounce. Here they adapt the flat modicum of topspin basic drive and start just that little bit lower. See when the ball's just dipping a little bit here and put a little bit more topspin on the board to keep it in court. Note this is with penetrative topspin. Take a ball dipping a lot after the bounce. Here, starting very low, they impart a lot of topspin on the ball. Let's take it on the 110 when the ball's dipping a lot. They impart a lot of topspin on the ball to keep it in the court. Two-hander, on the one-handed backhand this time. You see, I have to start lower, and when I start lower, I impart more topspin to the ball. Again, adapting my sound basic swing. Note that no effort is made to hit the ball high over the net. The high trajectory just happens completely automatically and naturally. Do not polarize the flat drive that has a modicum of topspin and the topspin drive. Treat flat and topspin shots as polarized opposites. There are all the different degrees of topspin according to the different degrees of dip in the ball trajectory after the bounce to keep the ball in the court. With the extreme western grip, when the ball is dipping as it comes to you, more topspin will be imparted because of the closed racket face. But note, this is still with penetrative topspin. With the lasso shot, the ball is hit on the rise. With the extreme western grip, the shot is hit flat with a modicum of topspin. It is a penetrative shot used a lot by Nadal. Let's look at the heavily dipping ball after the bounce again. You'll see that there is a pronounced turn of the racket on the ball. And herein lies the problem often encountered in tennis coaching today. People see this turn, especially with high-tech video analysis, slow-mo replay, and think they should go straight to topspin and try and turn on the ball, not realizing that the top pros learned a time-honored basic swing, and this was adapted automatically and naturally according to the different degrees of dip in the ball trajectory after the bounce. My racket turns for topspin completely automatically and naturally as I instinctively start lower and swing low to high. The hit is with penetrative topspin through the ball. Here, the topspin evolving naturally from the sound basic swing is through the ball. Let's just do that. It's through the ball, a million miles away from topspin across the line. But the hit is with topspin right through the line of the ball. It is not across the line, it's through the line. The difference in approach is that all the different degrees of topspin are hit with penetration. In the main, in competitive rallies, players are trying to hit penetrative topspin. Although of course sometimes defensive topspin, here's a defensive topspin, is the right option. So aligned to the fact that the hit is solidly through the ball, not only is the penetration good, but also the control, as the hand stays with the ball right through the shot. Compare this with what happens when a player goes straight to topspin and tries to turn the racket on the ball. As I've said many times, and at the risk of becoming monotonously repetitive, I'll say it one more time. If you turn your racket on the ball, or think of turning your racket on the ball, you'll hit across the line of the ball and lose penetration and control. It is as if in golf, after 50 years of driving through the ball on the basic drive, someone came along and said, okay, now we're going to hit around the side of the ball on the basic drive. Imagine how disastrous that would be on the golf swing. Well, it's the same with the tennis swing. People are not learning the time on a basic swing. Start low, swing level, i.e. straight, finish high. To repeat, by swinging through the line of the ball, swinging level to the ball, you have tremendous control because your racket's staying in contact with the ball right through the shot. And of course you hit great penetration because you're hitting solidly behind the ball. Let me just do a nice solid penetrative shot. You'll see that my racket really pressed out through the line of the ball there. And let's just hit a one-handed backhand on the same principle. Yes, when you adapt the sound basic swing, starting lower to hit more topspin, the hit becomes less inside out, more outside in towards the edge of the ball, but still through the ball. See, I'm still hitting through that ball. Let's take that on the two-hander. I'm still hitting through the ball, although I'm hitting with topspin. But this turn towards the edge happens completely automatically and naturally. You're not trying to hit the edge of the ball, because if you do, you'll hit too much to the edge. You'll hit across the line of the ball and lose penetration and control. The time-honored basic of all sports where you swing at a ball is that you hit through the line of the ball. Top pros do not hit flaky, flashy, iffy shots, slippy, slappy, sloppy shots. No, they hit solidly through the ball. But this hitting across the line is what you see on the tennis courts today. People are not learning the time-honored basic swing. Start low, swing level, i.e. straight, finish high, and hit through the line of the ball. Start low, swing level, i.e. straight, finish high, and hit through the line of the ball. And neither does Nadal, with his extreme Western grip, come out here and try and turn his racket on the ball. He learned, as did Federer, Murray, Djokovic, Wawrinka, Serena Williams, all the top pros, a sound basic swing with a modicum of topspin for his basic drive. See on that shot, the finish is there on the sound basic swing that Nadal hits. This is the swing the pros use in the knock-up. Look, it's obvious. And Nadal adapts this swing to hit more topspin completely automatically and naturally, according to the different degrees of dip in the ball trajectory after the bounce and his position on the court. If you use high-tech video analysis, slow-mo replay, you can see the racket turn on the ball on topspin to a heavily dipping ball. But the point is, Nadal does not come out here and try and turn his racket like a windscreen wiper. If he did, he would not be hitting penetrative topspin, but only defensive, attackable topspin. So he gets plenty of penetration on that shot. It is not a defensive, attackable topspin like this. Let's just hit one more attacking topspin shot. And you see the finish was a bit lower because the ball was dipping more and I put more topspin on that ball. So again, look at the top pros in the knock-up. All hit a classic basic drive through the ball. Not a windscreen wiper in sight. So let's be clear. It is essential to learn the sound basic swing first and then go to topspin. That's the beauty of topspin. If the hand and wrist are supple, the turn for topspin is completely automatic and natural. All the different degrees of topspin necessary to keep the ball in the court just happen naturally and automatically as the basic drive is adapted to hit more topspin. The basic drive is the key. Everything stems from the sound basic swing. So a lot of words, but the good bit is if you learn a sound basic swing, all the topspin shots just follow on naturally. I say again, there has been a total misinterpretation of tennis technique for 10 years now. Note also the returned emphasis to flatter hitting has coincided with players moving up the court to play the ball early. If you stay back and hit a heavily dipping ball, you have been a prolonged topspin exchange.